Welcome to HDTV. You're not rocking with your boy. Your boy. Now, in the Daily Beast, um, a story done by Tom Perkins, updated August 20th, 2020, at 6:17 p.m. And it was published August 20th at 12:49 p.m. Eastern time. So basically, the story is by Tom Perkins. I've lost four babies. $600 million payout. Can't fix Flint Nightmare. Nakiya Wakes was pregnant with twins in 2014 when the water coming out of her home's tap in Flint turned brown and began to stink. Within months, she had lost both babies. Soon after, she again became pregnant with twins. Once again, she lost them in a miscarriage. More recently, Wake's daughter miscarried, and the family fears she's unable to have children. Meanwhile, her son started puberty at 7 years old and developed dramatic cognitive and behavior problems that have steered his young life off course, she said. The health problems all trace back to Flint's poisoned water. Wakes told the Daily Beast on Wednesday, and she's unsure if her family will ever recover. The damage is done, it's irreversible, she said. The Wakes tragedy is emblematic of the spectacular suffering in Flint after the GOP state officials decided to switch the city's water source from Detroit to the Flint River as a cost-saving measure. Lead from corroded pipes began to leach into the drinking water because it was not treated, endangering tens of thousands and officially killing 12 with Legionnaire's disease, though a PBS Frontline investigation concluded the real death toll was much higher. So far, justice has eluded the largely black population of the city, whose residents sounded the alarm in vain about poisoned water for the better part of 2 years. But a new $600 million settlement officially announced Thursday could be a massive step towards righting horrific wrongs against Flint communities of color that long preceded the Trump presidency. The settlement with the state of Michigan, which is still pending approval from a federal judge, includes a fund that will make payouts directly to residents. The fund's legal structure is weighted to benefit young children disproportionately likely to suffer because of lead causes developmental and cognitive damage. Corey Stern, co-counsel for residents in a negotiation with the state, estimated that kids under 6 years old at the time could receive payouts in the mid six figures. Moreover, the payments to children will be placed into an interest accruing account that they can access once they're 18 years old. In other words, the sum will significantly grow over time. Stern called the settlement a really good deal for kids. No deal is perfect, and there are always going to be critics, but it's really, really difficult to successfully litigate against a state agency, and this is about as good of a deal as we could have ever imagined. He says sometimes it really just is good, and this is one of those times. The settlement also doesn't bring an end to attendant lawsuits and legal fallout, as it only applies to civil action against state employees. Separate suits filed against the federal government, city government, and private companies involved in the crisis will continue. And Stern estimated that there could be over $1 billion in damages awarded to victims by the time it's all finished. The state settlement is awesome not only because of the financial component, but because the state is acknowledging that it poisoned the city, said Gina Luster, a Flint resident and activist with the advocacy group Flint Rising and the Water Warriors. The tainted water calcified some of her organs, which eventually led to a hysterectomy, breast cancer scares, and a range of other health problems, she said, adding that it caused a domino effect in which she lost a good job, had to get on welfare, and began relying on family and friends for assistance. This is a huge step forward that shows some accountability for the wrongdoings that have been done to Flint residents. Luster said, while applauding activists who kept pressure on the state. When you keep applying enough pressure to a pipe, it's bound to burst, and I think Flint residents know that. The settlement brings an end to the civil litigation against some of the saga's most reviled villains, including former GOP Governor Rick Snyder and Nick Lyon, the former head of the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, who allegedly said of the deceased victims they have to die of something. It was not clear whether Snyder's former emergency managers who made the call to switch to water will remain caught up in lawsuits against the city. Though criminal charges against Lyon and 7 other defendants were dropped last year, criminal investigations continue and new charges could be brought. Meanwhile, a previous $87 million settlement has been funding the replacement of the city's lead pipes, a process that remains incomplete. Wakes also expressed a degree of skepticism about the new settlement. Money has been flowing into Flint for years, she said, but none of it has gone to the victims. Instead, it's landed with nonprofits and other charitable entities that are often run by people who don't live in the city. And regardless, there are issues and anguish that money can't fix. Wakes said, I've lost 4 babies that no amount of money can compensate me for. About 0.5% of the new settlement is earmarked for programmatic relief, Stearns said, but the rest will go to residents or those who can prove that they regularly work or went to school in Flint. About 80% of the residents' portion will be collected by those who were under 18 at the time of the crisis. And of that portion, about 65% will go to children under 6 years old. The remaining 20% of the residents' portion will go to the adults. This is really about the kids, Stearns said. This deal would not have happened if the majority of money wasn't going to children. Each payout will be considered on a case-by-case basis. Those who suffered more will receive more money instead of an equal payout for all residents. Stearns said Flint had about 100,000 residents at the time of the switch, and it's estimated that 7,500 children and about 18,000 adults now have legal representation. However, the fund is accessible to anyone, not just those who have lawyers. Wake says she'll believe the settlement when residents receive the money, and in the meantime, she and other activists don't plan the rest. We're still fighting, we're still struggling, she said. People are forgetting about it because of Trump and everything else, but I'm not going to let them forget. We're going to keep speaking up until we get justice for Flint. So basically, Flint, which everyone has seemed to forget about, but if this was in Wichita or somewhere where the residents mainly were of pink complexion, we would be talking about it more. We would be continuing to talk about it. And the president dropped the ball on this. Like he really did. And it showed the prejudice of this country. You have all these people on the internet talking about children like the white child who was killed and other children that were killed, but they're not talking about the black children who suffered and have died in Flint, Michigan. And I remember a story, an army guy, I believe he created water from the air, and he tried to go to Flint, I believe, and have it work. They came and sabotaged his machine because it was helping. It was helping those people in Flint. So $600 million, no, they should get paid more. They should have got paid in the billions. Now they're saying that the money will accrue into billions, but how many kids you know will make it to 18? Those kids and those families need that money now. And the thing is that they're not saying anything about it because they know it makes them look bad. But this is America, guys. They don't care about minorities, especially those that are black that live here. If they only care about you if they can make money off of you or they can exploit your talent. And if they can't do that, then you're no good to them. You're no use. So I'm trying to tell people you need to open your eyes and see what's going on. Flint, Michigan has been terribly destroyed. And babies are dying. and men and women are struggling to make it because the jobs are useless. That's what I'm saying. Like, this president y'all claim is the best ever, he says the job market look good, but how when there's people still struggling? And then you got him playing a game and not worrying about the COVID, and then you got some idiot people on YouTube and different platforms trying to say, oh, well, you have a 99% chance of healing from it. Yeah, because you white. Yeah, the pink folk, y'all can survive it because it doesn't affect you as much. It affects all blacks and all minority. That's who it affects the most. Of course, you're fine, Billy Bob. You're good. And it's like, we fight over the dumbest stuff, but as black Americans, we're not paying attention to what's important, which is helping those in Flint or helping those in the US period who are poor or who aren't able to support their families. We only worry about if we're okay. These other organizations, they're basically set up to just rob from the poor. And that's what a lot of people have been doing, especially in the George Floyd case, and other blacks who were unarmed who were killed. They basically say we're going to give this to charity. All that means is a tax write off. That doesn't mean that they're helping you. They're giving it to their charity, which means you're not going to see that money ever again. About 5 or 6 people have put that in their pocket, maybe 12. So again, I'm so sorry about the loss of Miss what's her name, man? I keep forgetting about Miss Wakes, Nakiya Wakes. I apologize and my condolences to her for being treated this way. But this is the reality. This is what us as black Americans deal with. Now, I'm not saying every black American is a saint. No, you have some black Americans out there who deserve to be in jail, who deserve to be under the dirt, who deserve to be basically um on and have life and basically be executed. But the majority of blacks are being looked at that way and being treated as if they're not, that they're all evil or we're all bad. And then it's like the pink folk, they're looked at as their gods, their kings, their Jesus or something. So it's very unfortunate. This has been going on for Flint. And I hope, they get that money because they deserve it. They've gone through a lot and they're still continuing to be treated like crap. And I hope they get it. And I hope, some of them we could save some of the people, some of the kids, and move on from this. But whoever decided to switch that water to the Flint water, they should have tested the pipes. You gotta understand. See, that's the thing, and that's the city trying to save money. Yes, you as a business you want to save money, but you can't cut corners on everything. That's why you have all these for example, these cars that people are buying, they're trash now. They're made to break down because when we used to make cars, they used to be tough. That's why I used to hear that Ford tough, Ford tough. When we made cars and trucks, like our steel was one of a kind. And these things that's going on, not helping Flint and everything, not checking the pipes. They just did it to cut costs, to cut corners, and it backfired on them. And I hope all those people get prosecuted, and I hope they continue to have the pressure put to them by the residents. Thank you for listening. Please like, comment, and share, and subscribe to the channel so you can select all so you can get upcoming notifications. And this is a sad story, and I hope it gets better. But you can't replace life with money, and I hope in the future that they understand that you can't take the cheap route or cut corners to try to basically get ahead. And right now is biting them in the butt for that. So like I said, thank you for listening. My description of my email and Twitter will be in the description box. And you guys, thank you so much for listening. Shout out to Mr. KC. He came by today. Uncle Frank, they came and looked at the video. I debunked the Shaq and Charles argument, who's better. And shout out to everybody who's listening to the channel and supporting it. Valentine Outlaw, he came through. I appreciate it, man. You know what I'm saying? All of you guys have really been coming by, showing support. Thank you so much, man. I couldn't ask for better supporters. And Mr. Terrell Hubbard came by. He always come by, man. Him and Joe Cool, the whole group. If I missed you, I'm sorry, man. Thank you for continuing to support the page. Hopefully one of these days, man, I can meet all of y'all. We can go out to dinner or eat, man, and talk trash about stuff, about sports, music, everything. So thank you guys for listening, and we out. Live boy.